Would a rose by any other name smell as sweet? Hi, my name is Joel Mark Harris. I am the author of The Ivory General. I thought I would start out with a little Shakespeare because today we are talking about names. And specifically during the Second Punic War, we have the Carthaginians and we have the Romans. And both have different problems with names when it comes to writing a story. I'll start with the Carthaginians. The most famous, probably Carthaginian of all, is Hannibal Barca, not Hannibal Lecter. But did you actually know that wasn't his real name? It was just purely Hannibal. Barca, which means with lightning, I believe, that actually came later and was added to his name by modern historians to just differentiate Hannibal from different Hannibals in Carthage. The problem with naming arises is that the Carthaginians had a very small set of names which they cycled through quite consistently. So there's Hannibal, which we talked about. The problem obviously is that Greek historians, because that's where we get a lot of our information about the Carthaginians from, they just said, oh, Hannibal did this, Hanno did this, Asdrubal did this. Obviously, it's very confusing when you use the same name and you mean different people. So to distinguish the most famous Carthaginian of all, Hannibal, we now name him Hannibal Barca. The Carthaginians actually just used the one name. The Romans, on the other hand, they had famously of 3 names, so you'd think they would be a lot easier to talk about and to identify one person from another. The problem that arises is that a lot of Romans, they named their first son after their selves, basically. So you've got one of the main characters in my book is Publius Cornelius Scipio. Hopefully I said that right, but his son, who is also really major role in the story, is also called Publius Cornelius Scipio. And so how do you distinguish between the two? So what I did in the book, the father, I named Publius, and that's how I basically refer him to. And then Scipio, who would go on to be Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus, which is he's a really famous Roman. Look him up if you haven't heard about him. I'll probably do a separate video on him as well. He went on and did great things, and I was actually one of the reasons that Rome beat the Carthaginians, and he was known as Africanus because of his invasion of Africa and ultimately beating Hannibal in the Battle of Zama. I name him, or I identify him as Scipio in the book because he is one of the central characters. So let me know what you think about my naming convention, and if you think that makes sense. It's very hard to identify the different types or the different characters in ancient times just because of their naming conventions and don't necessarily have a lot of variety in terms of names. Anyways, hope you like it. Check out my book. It's coming into stores pretty soon, and I'll talk to you in the next video.